here to talk today. Let's talk a little bit about hypnosis. Let's talk a little bit about why we do the things we do each and every single day, why we attract the people in our life that are around us, and why sometimes willpower alone just doesn't seem to be enough. Anybody in here ever set a New Year's resolution? Just a few people, right? Anybody in here ever keep them? That's a whole lot of less hands going up. Anybody in here ever make the decision at a certain point in their lives to say, you know what, I've had it, I'm done. This is never going to happen to me again. I make that decision right now. And then the next day, or the next week, or the next month, or a year later, you find yourself dealing with similar people, with similar situations. What happened? Didn't you make a decision to make a change, or didn't you logically think about that it's okay for you to be better in certain areas of your life? What happened? So out of all of the questions I most frequently asked, and it's quite a bit, imagine being a hypnotherapist, the most fun ones are really, people that come up and they look at you and you go like, you hypnotize people? Well, yeah. No. People come to you and you do hypnosis. Yeah. And then inevitably, you see a little bit of fear coming up, and you see them backing up a little bit. They don't want to look in your eyes anymore, And I just usually tell them it's all about the voice, And then they run for the door. No. They usually just ask me, so are you hypnotizing me right now? Well, maybe, So there are still a lot of ideas and thoughts and misconceptions about hypnosis. And what I'd like to do today is kind of just change that a little bit and tell you really what the story is, really what the truth is, and what it is all about, and how you can use it. And you may already be using it each and every day, but you don't even know it yet. Okay. So, within hypnosis, the best way to illustrate everything is with a little theory, and don't worry, it won't be boring, it'll be a lot of fun. It's something called the theory of mind, and the theory of mind was designed by a PhD. It was Dr. John Kappas, and it really does it helps us so much to understand our mind, to understand our behavior, to do the things that we do, to say the things that we say, and to have the people in our lives that are surrounding us right now. There may be a specific reason why you're sitting next to the person that's sitting next to you. And maybe take a good look at them, and find out what it is. Anybody in here thinks they can never be hypnotized? Not me, never going to happen. Don't even try. Oh, just a few people, yeah. Can we get those people out of here, just get rid of them? No, we can't? Okay. Anybody in here think they're hypnotized right now? No, yeah, okay. Same person that didn't think he was hypnotized, he just said he was hypnotized right now, so it changes quickly, right? All right, so within this theory, when we're born, we're all pretty much born with the same basic programming. And you may have heard of this before. We have our basic instinct for survival. And within that, we have two things that are called fight or flight. You may be familiar with that. It's just simply, back in our caveman days, it was have lunch or be lunch, right? In today's society, it's not so much anymore about have lunch or be lunch, but it's more about fight represents our everyday anxieties, our everyday stressors, our everyday tensions. And flight is the way we respond to that. So what do we do? Do we just vent to friends, or do we just take a drive, forget about it, go to the gym, go to alcohol, go to drugs, medication, sleep, depression? How do we respond to the things that hit us each and every single day? And that's our basic instinct for survival. Now, when we are born, till we're about 8 years old, and again, this varies for some people, but we learn everything from our parents, from our peers, from the people around us, from our friends, hopefully a little bit from our teachers. And the way we learn is through identification and association. And what I mean by that is that everything that we take in at this age, we take in literally. Because quite frankly, we don't know any better. Whatever they tell us, that's what it's going to be. They explain us how we tie our shoelaces, so that's what we do. We make a little loop, we go around it. And then after that, we make our own ways. How many of us still tie our shoelaces the way we did when we were 5 years old? Interesting, okay. Remember that, but we'll come back to that. Some things that we learn evolve later on, but at this age, we kind of take in everything literally. Simply, we don't know any better. And what I mean by identification and association, everything that we learn has an attachment to it. Everything that we learn has either a feeling, an emotion, has something that's attached to it. That's how our mind learns. And I'll give you some examples. For example, some people may like the smell of freshly mowed lawn, of grass. It may trigger memories of barbecues, of friends, of being outside, of vacation. For other people, smell of grass may trigger some allergy, some sneezing. So that's a not so pleasant association with it. So one thing can mean different things to different people. One object can trigger different things in different people, and we react to it differently. Another example is maybe success. Yeah. What have you heard about money or about success when you grow up? Right? Money doesn't grow on trees. Right? People that have money aren't happy. People that have money aren't good people, whatever it may be. And what about relationships? Men will never marry a girl like you. Right? Or love? What's love? There is no love. Women are only after you for the money, or whatever that may be. Whatever are some of those associations, some of those things that you picked up while you were growing up. Or, of course, for a lot of people, food. Chocolate. Being a Belgian, Belgian chocolate. Wow, so good. Comfort. Whatever that brings to you. Now, after 8 years old, until we're about 12, 13, 14, after our bar mitzvah, we form something that is called the critical area of the mind. And what that does, it protects all of the things we've learned so far, all of these associations, all of these learning behaviors that we picked up from the people around it. It keeps it safe, right there in the subconscious mind, because all of this is a part of your subconscious mind. Now, if you were to say that your total mind power is 100%, how much would you think your subconscious mind is out of those 100%? Let's just throw some numbers out there. Don't be shy. It's my birthday. Come on. Let's throw some numbers out there. How much? 55, 90, 60, 80. So we're all a little bit above 50%, right? We all have this notion that the subconscious part of our mind is the biggest portion of our mind. Well, isn't that an interesting concept? The majority of what we do is based on our subconscious learnings that we picked up before we were 8 years old. Now, there are different theories about exactly how much percent that is. We don't really know. The fact is that it is indeed the largest portion of the brain. According to Dr. John Kappas' theory, it's 88%. There are some theories that say 90. I read a study recently that said 95. It's kind of scary. Now, after we form our critical area of the mind, with that critical area of the mind comes our critical thinking, right? We start to analyze things. We start to reason. We start to find logic in things. As a matter of fact, right now you're analyzing what I'm saying, are you not? You're trying to make reason out of it. You're thinking logically, is she even making sense? The answer is yes, okay? And you make a decision based on that. And then we have that last thing that comes back again and again. It's that thing called willpower. And let's be honest about willpower. It's never there when you really need it. Let's just put it out there. And all of this is a part of your conscious mind. And obviously, if 88% is your subconscious, you do the math, the rest is 12%. So how does it all work? And where does this hypnosis thing come in? Well, let's say you have a thought coming in. You want to be more successful. You come here tonight, maybe you want to network a little bit, you want to meet some people, you want to meet your future partner, you want to meet the person that's going to take care of you when you're 85 years old, whatever that may be. So the thought comes in, and there's that critical area of the mind that's keeping everything safe, that's protecting all of the things that you've learned, all the way up to those 8 years old. By the way, if you ever thought that your spouse or your coworkers were acting a little childish, well, maybe they were, maybe you were right. Their behavior may be based on some of the stuff that they learned before they were 8 years old. So that thought comes in, you make a decision. You want to be more successful, you finally want to find that special person in your life. Critical area of the mind receives that notion, receives that thought, receives that idea, receives that emotion, and goes and checks, whoa, wait a minute. Let me go and see what we know about this. What have we learned about success? What have we learned about money? What have we learned about relationships? And goes and checks our associations. And what does it find? Well, you know what? Money doesn't make you happy. You'll never amount to anything. Men won't marry a girl like you. Or women are only after you for the money. Love doesn't exist. It's just a myth. What do you think happens to your decision, to your willpower, to your decision to really make a change? Subconscious mind is 88% of your total mind power. Which one wins? Okay. So where does hypnosis come in? Well, in hypnosis, the interesting part is it's such a natural, focused state of awareness. As a matter of fact, each and every single one of you go through a state of hypnosis at least twice a day. Right before you fall asleep, you go through a state of hypnosis. Right when you wake up, you go through a state of hypnosis. Anybody here ever hear people say, do your affirmations and do them right before you fall asleep or right when you wake up? That is because in that moment of the day, you are more susceptible, more suggestible to receiving that information because, as a matter of fact, you are in hypnosis. Anybody here ever drive on the freeway, park your car, you got home, turn off the engine, and all of a sudden you're like, how on earth did I get here? I have no idea. I don't even remember taking the exit. You were in hypnosis. It was your subconscious mind driving you home. Now think about it. It sure explains a lot when you see people driving out there, doesn't it? That guy's in hypnosis. So hypnosis is a natural process. It's something that happens to you each and every single day, and you can't avoid it even if you tried. So what hypnosis does, and I touched on that a little bit, it disables the critical area of the mind. It softens it up a little bit. It makes little openings, little gateways. And what we do when that critical area of the mind is open, it is open to positive suggestions. It is open to those affirmations, to use a different word. It is open to those different ideas that really come from your conscious mind. And what we do is we change those associations that come from the past, and we change it into something that is more beneficial to you now, that rings more truth to you now, that is more in line with some of the things that you want today. And not so much anymore based on some of the behaviors you picked up from the people around you when you were growing up. Now think about that for a moment. Think about some of the things that are happening in your life, the people that you attract in your experience, and compare it to how you grew up. What did you see around you? What were you exposed to? And you'll find some similarities there. Right? The good news is, it doesn't have to end that way. You already know now that right before you fall asleep, you're in a state of hypnosis. So what do you decide to do with that moment in time is entirely yours. You can change your associations, you can change your ideas. Right when you wake up, same thing. And if that doesn't work for you, you can always give me a call, and I'll help you.